heartless conspiracy.
Dummy. Conspiracy dummy.
Hey, welcome to Conspiracy Dummy, the conspiracy podcast that pays no attention to the man behind the curtain. I am your host, Double D, the Scarecrow of this podcast. Joining me on the podcast today, we have the heartless Tinman. He has no love for hoes, conspiracies, or being on the podcast. My little bro, Adrian, what's up?
Yo.
Okay, also on the podcast, we have the big, the bad, the king of the jungle, the Cowardly Lion, Mario, what's up?
Rawr.
Okay, this episode, we're going to venture off into the missing 411 phenomenon and the fighting forest around the world. Okay, the missing 411, a series of books written by David Paulides, a former police detective who investigates the eerie disappearances of people of all ages that go missing in the national parks and forests. Are you guys familiar with this topic?
No.
I am. I've read a lot of cases, seen a lot of cases.
Which ones are you kind of familiar with?
The Stephen Kubacki.
Steven Bukaki?
Yeah.
Tell me about this guy.
Tell us your experience with this.
Yeah. Shoot, Mario.
What?
Don't leave out any details.
Yeah. Tell us every detail, man, friend.
No, it's one of the trippier ones because he actually never died, or he was found. And he was missing for like 14 months.
Oh, good. No, I don't feel bad for making fun of his name, so carry on.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He says he sat down and then...
and sat down and what? He just went
Blacked out?
blacked out like he did right there.
I
You
can't remember. I
out.
can't remember the story exactly, but supposedly he sat down next to his skis to take a break, and then... I don't know if something scared him or what, but he started walking through the forest and he blacked out from exhaustion and then woke up 14 months later, like 2,000 miles away or some shit like that. So
14 months later?
yeah, it's a trip.
And then he...
How do you not remember what happened in 14 months?
So maybe it's like a case...
That's the longest blackout I've ever heard of.
Like a case of amnesia, huh? Probably got hit his head, fucking didn't even know where he was, just wandered off in the woods.
I don't know.
But you said he survived this. Well, that's cool,
But
man.
you hit your head that hard, you probably bleed to death out there in the forest. No, I mean...
Yeah, I would... Well, unless you like...
And then, but who knows if he had injuries when he came back after the 14 months, and then supposedly he got all obsessed with his own case. Why would you go through that much trouble if you were lying? Like, let's say he just spent 14 months in the forest, you know.
So like, this is like
why
a
would
case.
he come back to society and then be like, oh my God, this is so weird, and then spend the rest of his life trying to figure out what happened to himself if it was just one big lie?
So
But who knows? I mean, people love attention, right?
So there's like a time gap that's missing from him.
Yeah.
I forgot what you call
Kind
it.
of sounds like alien abduction to me.
Something similar, huh?
Or,
People like
you know,
there's stories like that.
Something like that.
Kind of sounds related to Kim Kardashian.
Please explain.
He just sounds like it could be a case of him being a attention whore.
Yeah. Publicity stunt.
Publicity stunt. Also, David Paulides, I believe that's his name. I hope I'm saying his last name right. There's 4 factors that he looks into when he's looking into these missing 411 cases that he rules out. And that's like if the person has mental illness, if they want to go out and like suicide is a factor for them.
Suicide tendencies.
Like voluntary disappearances. Criminal activity, maybe there's somebody that did foul play or harm to somebody. Animal attacks as well. These are the things that he kind of rules out if he sees any signs of that. But also there's profile points that he looks into that he sees a lot of common factors in these cases. There's a point of separation. When there's like a group of people, one takes off by themselves, that's that moment when they're never seen again. In a lot of these cases, there's something like that. There's a time of disappearance. Usually people tend to go missing more in the afternoon, a little bit after 4 or 5. Also, they kind of go missing in areas where there's a boulder field.
I would say rough terrain, no? Like crazy mountainous terrain.
Yeah, they kind of focus more on
Because
wilderness areas.
wasn't there a case of this one kid where he was found like 14 hours away? Like what? Like how far do you get walking in 14 hours? Like maybe 20 miles, 14 miles. I think he was found like 12 miles away. But even to the most experienced hiker, they were saying that's like impossible to cover that much ground through. Like where he went missing to the point where he was found, a straight shot would take you like, they would say like 36 hours because it was just so dangerous and hilly and
his name was Keith Parkins. He's now 70 years old. He survived. This happened like April 10th, 1952 in Ritter, Oregon, and I think he was 2 years old. He went missing from a farm area, and 8 miles away from the place that he went missing, like through tough terrain, freezing temperature, he was found face down in a pile of snow, and his clothes like next to him. A lot of these cases, man, they wake up. They're like people that are found.
Wait, didn't you say he was alive? How did?
Yeah, he was alive.
Oh, he was just.
But
found
he was
face
just kind of
down?
like knocked out or whatever. A little kid just face down in the snow. And I was gonna say a lot of these cases too, when they find them, they're like naked and stuff. It's crazy, man. Grown-ups too, when they do find them, alive and dead. Yeah, man, they got this guy Les Stroud, the survivor, man, to reenact this kid's journey. And dude, he couldn't even do it himself, man. He gave up. It said it was impossible. The freezing temperature, the rough terrain, he just couldn't do it. This fucker can't do it, and he's known for that shit. How is a 2-year-old gonna do it? So,
well, that I was about to say that the time frame sounds like these people might have just been drunk at that time or intoxicated somewhat.
A 2-year-old.
But that's what I'm saying. Then you bring up the 2-year-old. That's totally what throws it off.
Oh yeah,
well, there's lots of kids that go missing.
You think the effects of drugs and alcohol probably wouldn't really take effect until later in the afternoon.
What's weird about these cases that he writes about, if he finds out that they were druggies or criminal type people or just up to no good, he doesn't even write about them.
No, in most of the cases,
they're all doctors,
yeah.
athletes, hunters,
or maybe they have a history of anything. If it's nothing that's
also German descent. Like if you have some German ancestry too, man. Like for some reason, there's like a correlation or a link there too. Said by David Pilates in his book.
Well, there was this one case too that he writes about where this kid goes missing and his grandpa's like watching him, and I mean you would think a little kid, if he was in trouble, would start crying. You know, what's the first thing little kids do is cry.
Oh, and that's like when his back was turned. Like literally they're together.
Yeah,
he's behind him, turned around, kid's gone.
Yeah, it's like, how do you
like
not
vanished.
even make a sound? I don't know, it's trippy. I always thought it was like either aliens that would abduct you, or the government has like secret facility underground labs that abduct you and then take you down there to do experiments on you. Or I just figured it was Bigfoot, because there's a story.
It could be like maybe ghosts, dude.
French. I think was it a Frenchman? There's a story of a Frenchman that he was scared to tell his story for like 30 years. Because he didn't want to be looked at like an idiot or like some stupid ass. So he kept it a secret for the longest time. But he went missing for a while. And later on, when other people were coming out about Bigfoot abductions, he said his story that he actually lived with a Bigfoot family, like in some crazy mountain area where he got kidnapped supposedly by a Bigfoot. And then like, the house of the Bigfoot was like a giant bowl, and it was like all spiky, and like it took him like a year or two to figure out how to escape from there, and then supposedly he got away.
You know, a Bigfoot, man, could just be like a person that's feral, like this person that's uncivilized, just out there wearing animal clothing and shit, just in hiding. You know, a lot of these abductions could be from people like that. They're just a group of people like, what do you call that movie? Wrong Turn.
Oh yeah, Hills Have Eyes.
Like inbred people out in the backwoods of wherever.
But then like, let's say like this person, that Frenchman or whatever that came back, why wouldn't he just say, well, like a family of cannibals or a family of like some deformed people?
I'm not saying it is a family of deformed people, but
well, no, I know. Like he said, he was abducted by Bigfoot and he lived with them.
A lot of these cases too with kids say the same thing. Like, oh, like the tree people saved me. Oh, a bear saved me, kept me warm overnight, or a wolf man or some shit like that. Similar stories like that, man. And it's usually like a
Yo,
younger person.
There's even a story I think that goes back to like the 40s or 50s or 60s, and supposedly a Russian town had a female Bigfoot, and they would use it for like
The hood rat?
yeah.
The neighborhood
I
hood
swear
rat?
to God,
For real.
they would fuck it. Yeah, I swear to God, and they even had kids.
Well, dude, you have to keep warm during the winter.
Fuck, I wish I'd looked it up or something, but yeah, it was so weird. And the Bigfoot even had kids, and then plus the town, it was like their own little secret, and then the men would use it for sex and stuff like that. It was crazy. It was like a sex slave.
What?
Yeah, and it was a female Bigfoot, and even when she gave birth, they were like deformed half breeds. And like
and that's what's on the
they
forest
even
right
they
now?
even dug up one of the bones of one of the kids, because they wanted to find the actual bones of the female Bigfoot where that town buried her after she passed away, and but it was just like old people that could remember this story, so they didn't mark graves, so they couldn't say, oh yeah, the Bigfoot's buried here. But one of her kids is buried here. And they actually dug up the bones of one of the kids. And yeah, he was like really deformed and oversized.
So
like
maybe
too
his
big of a
siblings
head.
or his
Yeah, and then
fam is out there.
There's stories of the kids living in the town, you know, because they got old too. And, you know, people would make fun of them, you know, looking like a freak, you know, in society. But, you know, they would get
a Bigfoot
made
man.
fun of.
It could be
stuff.
like ghosts too. Why does a fucking house have to be haunted or a building? Like a forest too can be haunted. There's like Native American land, burial grounds. A lot of fucking eerie supernatural shit that probably occurs on these places too. Curses, giant birds. Maybe they're getting abducted in the air. These kids too. Something just snatching them
I
up.
would think eventually
bring 'em up higher.
you would see a giant bird.
Oh, that's true. Maybe the only person that does see him is the one that does get abducted. Portals, dimensions, shit just opens, closes. That could be a possibility.
Isn't there a conspiracy theory on some flight from Malaysia?
Malaysia.
No,
but yeah,
that's not a conspiracy theory. That really happened. It like just
Oh.
popped up in Malaysia.
yeah, man. There's places.
That's trippy. How does a plane just like end up in Malaysia when it wasn't even supposed to go there?
When you seen Lost, bro, shit just lands anywhere.
What if something just like opened up and fell right here on top of us?
That'd be fucked up. Also, I forgot. I was getting into the points of the profile points. Weather. There's bad weather when these things happen too. And they're usually found around boulders, like boulder fields near water too when these people go missing. And the weather, it just,
When
the
you
day
say
of their
that,
occurrence.
when you say that about the weather, that's trippy, because that makes me think something. It's like, okay, say I was gonna abduct someone.
Yes.
So that involves me paying attention to the
weather.
weather or technology somehow. So it's like, if something is taking these people, are they watching the weather, or they know the
That's what
weather,
it could
or
be. It could be serial killers, bro.
because like if it's Bigfoot, how would Bigfoot know? I mean, animals do sense storms coming. Maybe he's like, oh shit, a storm's coming. I'm gonna go fucking
Animal instinct.
go steal somebody.
Well, like there is a theory by these retired policemen, detectives in New York, that a serial killer or serial killers are leaving people near bodies of water from the 1990s to the 2010s. And they also found near the bodies of these people that were being dumped like a graffiti painting of a smiling face. They're known as the smiley face killers.
Out in the woods?
That's a theory that somebody like maybe or copycats are doing this, leaving
But
just
I know
people.
on most of these 411 cases, they bring in like cadaver dogs or rescue dogs to smell
and they can't even pick up a scent.
people, dead bodies or whatever. And I would think they would the dog would find
That is
a
one of the
serial
profile
killer, you
points,
know?
man, that he sees in these common factors with these cases. Canines can't pick up the scent.
Like I see
Or they just-
humans being so inefficient. Like humans always leave a trace or a track.
And speaking
or,
of humans, most of them are like disabled or have some kind of illness to them and stuff. They're like physically compromised.
yeah, like a wheelchair or crutches or
Yeah. So also when these people go missing, there's this search that goes on with search and rescue, and they look through this area like crazy. And they'll go through this area like 2-3 times. Weeks, months, years later, they find the person's remains or clothing. And usually like if they find like shoes or something like that, they're like pristine. They're just like, it's like somebody just placed them there days before. And this person has, like some cases, like this one kid went missing for 4 years. He was been gone for 4 years, and they found his shoes, and they look like brand new.
Yeah, it's like an animal where to take him. His
There'll
shoes.
be scuff marks,
Yeah,
blood
exactly.
marks. Even with the clothing too, some of these cases when they do find the clothing, there's no like, it's not torn up, like animal attacks. Maybe there's like things taken out of it because of birds and rodents out in the forest. But and then
you
when
would
they
think anything and spend enough time in the forest, it'd get messed up. Like even if you just left it there.
yeah.
So like even if a shoe, you leave it somewhere for 4 years in the forest, I'm sure after you come back for it 4 years later, it'll be all fucked up.
Yeah, I'm pretty
So
sure that
that's
would
so
happen.
weird that
It's like somebody's fucking with them out there.
That's why I think sometimes it's like government underground like facilities to actually like do experiments on humans, because like if they were to take something underground in a facility, it would stay pretty nice. It's like if you keep something in your garage, like a car or whatever, a painting, as long as it's inside away from weather, but it's going to stay pretty nice and new.
Yeah, doesn't make sense, man. It's beyond our understanding of what's really going on right now. There's theories, but who knows? Also, like even the coroners, bro, when they look into these cases, when they find them dead, they don't even know how to explain it. It's unknown to them, like how the cause of death, or they have theories, like maybe people die from hypothermia. Weird cases too with the hypothermia. And there's geographical clusters in these areas where, like Yosemite is one of those hot spots. A lot of shit happens.
I'm pretty sure every national forest or park or anything that's massive, Yellowstone's in the thousands and thousands of acres of land.
And there's a case too with Aaron Hedges, man. He was in that documentary that's on Amazon right now. So if you guys want to look into more of this 411 cases, there's a series of books that he has, and also some documentaries on Hulu and Amazon that you can check out. Aaron Hedges, he went missing in the Crazy Mountains in Montana on September 5th, 2014. He was an elk hunter. He went with 2 friends of his. He was carrying a GPS tracker, a bow, arrows, a handgun, and he separated from his friends because he said he was going to go get some more supplies. Days passed. They couldn't find him. They went out to look for him. And in this area, too, man, it's like, and in the Crazy Mountains, it's known to be like cursed from like the Crow natives. So there's like some kind of crazy shit that probably goes on there, too. But in his case, man, a storm came in, too. Same thing with him when they went to look for him. Temperatures dropped to the teens. Days later, they found his boots placed neatly on top of this mountain range that's like miles from where he went off track.
No, and then if it was like hypothermia, why the fuck would you take off your boots?
You take your boots off, but you still carry on your gear, all that shit.
And then like what, you're just supposed to walk barefoot through the forest? I don't see.
And it's fucked up, man.
I don't
It's
see
a
how
fucked up
any
area.
professional or anybody that's been out in the wilderness is gonna be like, oh yeah, let me take my boots off and then just leave them here.
In the first days when they were searching him, they looked in that area prior to that, days before, and like days later they looked at that. They found that area and they found the boots, but it wasn't there before though.
Well, yeah, one
It's
of
like
the
one of those
more
cases, shit
famous
just pops up.
411 cases is I think a doctor that went like snowboarding with his buddies and got ahead of the group and then like disappeared, and they were searching and searching and searching, and then I think months later, like in where they had been searching, his body showed up, and then like all his gear was there too, and he had a satellite phone, he had a GPS tracker, and then his phone had service and they used it and he had signal. So it's like, why wouldn't he call for help if he was lost or he felt like he was in danger?
Yeah, man, that's like things. If you're gonna go hunting, hiking, or just sightseeing in the forest, especially if you're gonna go alone, bring a fucking tracking device, bring like a gun, or like a weapon
Well,
or
yeah,
something.
but like, let's say it's the government or aliens.
Oh,
That
fuck.
kind of shit that ain't gonna work on them, or they're gonna have some kind of
A phone.
EMP to disable your electronics, or I don't really know.
I don't know. Water, protein bars, bring some
Because,
shit back.
that doctor had all that shit. He was prepared to go out there, and I guess he knew the dangers. So why would you have a satellite phone? Why would you have GPS and all that stuff? If you weren't prepared, he was pretty much prepared.
Yeah, it's like that one case, like that movie, dude, The Fire in the Sky. What's his name? Travis Walton. Same thing with those dudes, man. He went that's a UFO abduction.
No, and then the crazy thing is they all passed lie detector tests.
And a week or I don't know how long, but he reappeared. And same thing with that case you're talking about earlier, man.
I think there's lots of abduction cases. You just don't hear about them all.
That couple, that interracial couple, Betty and Barney Hill. I think that's where you get that anal probe story from.
What, they came back alive talking about they got anal probed?
Yeah, they talk about it. I'm not too familiar with the case, but they got abducted, and I think the lady's story was somebody got probed. I don't know. I could be wrong.
You don't have experience
Do
with
you have
anal
any
probing, agent?
See, me and Adrian grew up in Minnesota too, man. We're surrounded by like cornfields, and beyond the cornfields are forests, like crazy woods.
You lived there when you were kids?
Yeah, we were there like shit, man. It's a good 10 years when I was young. Oh,
Do you
dude, like I was like a
growing
little
up in Minnesota?
I was a little Tom Sawyer growing up, bro. I fish, not hunt, but
There was never
I went
any
with my
local
parents to go with my
stories
dad.
of kids missing? Because a lot of the 411's from Minnesota.
There is a lot of cases up there too, man. Even growing up, people being abducted, people going missing. I know there's a lot of cases. I just didn't look into them, but a lot of people go missing in that area too. Even in the other place that we all lived in Santa Fe, there's a few cases up there too. People going missing. Those are one of those cluster areas that people just tend to go missing. More than one person, more than one case in that area. It's pretty crazy, man. Makes you think what's out there. What's out in these woods, man? The fighting forest. Let's talk about some of these places around the world that's haunted or evil. Do you have anything in mind, places, Adrian?
There's Kent Forest. There's a couple of forests in England. Can't remember the names of them, though. But there's a few of them.
Kent Forest?
There's one in Kent. But I don't know. I didn't really look into it. It just didn't really interest me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. We'll leave all this in. Go for it. What do you have, Mario? What an amazing researcher. Pick up a book. Hey, Mario, go. What's next? What do you have? I know you got some things listed, bro.
No, but this was funny.
I told you this was going to be a bad topic unless you actually did good research. This is
No, dude, Mario's going pretty good.
No, I mean, the cool thing is that Danny will edit all this shit, so you could say what you want, you know, like without feeling like it's recorded and he can't take it out later. But yeah, that shit was fucking funny.
Do you have any places you think that's haunted around there, man? Around the world?
So I think every city has hauntings. You know,
Like
in San Antonio, there's those train tracks. You guys ever been to those train tracks where supposedly the dead kids push you over the train tracks because they died on their school bus that got stuck on the train tracks?
And that's in San Antonio? I thought that was in El Paso. I would hear stories like that. I think there's like a place like that in California too.
There's a few places that have that story, but I actually went to the one in San Antonio, and then I couldn't believe there was actually people putting baby powder on their trunk. But I feel like that's just like an electrical magnetic field or something that pulls the car. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of fucking scary stories.
There's a place in Mexico, bro. I think was it Xochimilco, Mexico, the island of the dolls. The Island of the Dolls, the former owner, Don Julio Santana Barrera, placed dolls of various styles and colors throughout the island to fight off evil spirits and chase away a spirit of a girl who drowned in a little canal nearby. The dolls hang from trees and buildings He placed him there because he said he would hear the girl cry out, "I want my doll."
That sounds like the Llorona story too, kind of. Growing up in El Paso, that was one of the main. Every Halloween that we would hear about the Llorona. And I think they even made a movie, but I'd never seen it. You guys seen the Llorona?
I would hear that shit out in New Mexico too, bro. Like up in by Los Alamos kind of area right there. I think the Rio kind of runs in that area too. That Rio runs all the fuck up there, bro. And at one time, that place was Mexico, so it could happen in that region.
Was the movie any good?
Yeah, it's all right.
Also, there's the Black Forest in Germany is said to be the home of fairies, elves, witches, and werewolves. This place is straight out of a Brothers Grimm tale, bro. There's also a German myth of a king that lives underwater in a lake there that drags women underground to his pimped out castle in underwater.
That sounds like a pimp. I would do some shit like that if I had an underwater castle. Because how would the police track you? You can just kidnap any girl and take her down there and she's your sex slave.
Just snatches? No, I can't do that shit. But, and also everyone knows about the Okigahara, a.k.a. the Seat of Trees, a.k.a. the Suicide Forest, is located at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan. The local residents believe it's the home of the ghosts of the dead. So, people, you go there, man, you see, like, cars just abandoned there, and people pretty much assume that these are the people that just ventured off and...
Wait, but do they ever find the bodies?
Yeah, they do. Oh. Sometimes, I guess. But just the fact, man, walking into a fucking forest like that at night, knowing that it's haunted like that, it's known for people to go and commit suicide.
Wait, is it haunted or is it just like a good suicide spot?
I don't know. You tell me, man. Would you want to venture off into some shit like that?
I mean, if they're finding the bodies, I wouldn't think it was haunted. Now, if people actually go missing and then, end up hanging from a tree when they weren't even
my
suicidal.
next door neighbor hung himself. And I think that fucking place is haunted.
It's called Suicide Forest, not Haunted Forest, Marius. That kind of answers the question for you.
Well, Danny said it was haunted.
It's I would assume it's haunted.
You see?
God, you guys suck.
Says the guy that says 3 words.
Debbie's dad hung himself too off of a 3-foot pole. That was weird.
No.
You guys are actually trying. That's the thing. It's sad.
One of the crazy places supposedly here in America are the Suspicious Mountains. I've heard they're also called the Headless Mountains. All kinds of murders. They find, dead people all the time without the head. And then years later, they'll find the head in weird places, far, far, far away from the body. Supposedly, there's gold stories. That's what attracts so many people to these mountains. They go looking for gold, I guess, because there's gold in the area, supposedly, but like all around these mountains. But supposedly, I guess there's like a jackpot spot like in the mountains that attracts a lot of these people. And there's even a massacre at one point. The Apaches massacred like all these gold miners out there. So it's like a reservation, I guess, out there in Arizona. But the mountains are known for, murders, missing people. And I've always been attracted to these types of places. I like hearing these stories, and I hope one day to go out there.
Go
maybe.
missing?
No, I don't want to go missing.
Dude, we had an art teacher in high school that had something similar happen to him, I think. R.I.P. DJ Irv. DJ Irv, rest in peace, man. But yeah, something crazy happened to him too.
He went missing?
They found his head out in Arizona.
Shut the fuck up.
No, was
He
it?
was missing
Ruidoso?
for months or whatever, and then all of a sudden they found his head.
No way.
Yeah.
Something crazy, man.
He was hiking in Arizona?
No, they have no idea why he was found. His head was found in Arizona.
I bet he's
What
one of
part?
these
Do you
cases.
remember that?
No. Probably could look that. We should look
Well,
that
yeah,
up.
because the Suspicious Mountains are known for the headless, or nickname Headless, because everyone's head gets chopped off.
Shit, man. Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, that one's always tripped me out. And then also the Skinwalker Ranch in northern Utah.
Chopping heads, boy. It ain't safe no more.
protect your neck.
Hey, but what was the other place you were talking about?
The Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah, that one was. No one knows who owned the family before 1994, but a family lived there from 94 to 96, and they just talk all kinds of crazy stories this poor family went through before they. Some billionaire bought the ranch too after that family couldn't take it no more, because I guess the dad or he finally went to like, I guess, to try and get help, or just who knows what the hell he did, but I guess he got more fame from the stories, and some billionaire, Robert T. Bigelow, bought the ranch, and he's got like some National Institute of Discovery for Science, and he
There's a lot of crazy shit that happens.
They have crazy
bro.
stories too, but that family went through some shit. Like they always
disappearances, cattle mutilation,
everything.
They see a lot of shit on
unusual
there too.
animals. Like they would report seeing wolves,
The goat
but
sucker.
that were like 3 times the size of wolves. They would have cows missing, and when they would find the cow, if they found the cow, it'd be missing chunks, but precision cuts. Like if it went through some kind of surgery, it wasn't like animals that just tore flesh.
Where's Skinwalker Ranch?
It's
Where's that
in northern Utah.
Utah.
Like
hey,
east
Utah,
of-
man, a lady went missing there a few days ago too, bro.
I think it's
Like-
just 6 days ago now.
Yeah, it's like a week
7
maybe.
days ago.
Let's see, what's her name? 38-year-old Holly Suzanne Cotier. She went missing in the Zion National Park. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, they're still searching for
lady.
her.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
trips
crazy.
me out too is like, what I wonder when these people just say, fuck it, let's give up. You know, like if I was searching for someone, I would feel really bad giving up. Like just saying like, they're not gonna be found, or they're dead, or like, it's like, damn, I would always feel like shit quitting without finding anything. Like at least you find a dead body, or you find something.
Okay, so I was wrong. It was not in Arizona. It was in Hudspeth County, where Jesse's working, right outside of El Paso. It's just out like in the middle of nowhere. So like there was no reason for him to be out there. So he was reported missing August 10th after he had left his apartment, did not make contact with his family for several days. His vehicle was found in Hudspeth County a few days after he was reported missing. Family members thought that he was gone camping. In November, a dog discovered his human skull near the camping site that he was at. It was a big shock.
And just the head? That's trippy.
Dude, I wonder if he's one of those cases, man. That's really...
That sounds
Fucked
like
up.
some cannibalism shit. Like, wait, do cannibals eat the head too?
And he was
I'm sure they probably eat everything.
I know I want my girlfriend to eat the head. But, yeah, that's fucked up. I remember him going missing, but I don't remember ever hearing more about it. But more of the Skinwalker Ranch, the family would report all kinds of stuff, like not just like aliens, but they would see floating things, objects. They would see orbs. They even had these ones they were scared of. They said they were the worst thing out of everything. They were blue orbs called like blue. They nicknamed them the blue meanies, but they would say that these orbs would come around and they would just like produce fear in you.
What?
Like you couldn't help being like terrified. It was crazy. And then the last straw was actually his dogs chased some of these orbs and they got vaporized.
The dogs?
Yeah, like the dogs disappeared chasing the orbs, and then all he heard was like 3 dog yells because it was 3 of them.
Help me.
Yeah. And then he was too scared to go looking for his dogs until the next morning, and then he found like 3 piles of vaporized dog, and he was like, fuck this shit. That's when he knew his family was in danger, you know. But to him even saying that he saw portals, he said one day he was cleaning his rifle outside somewhere, and it was nighttime, and that he seen some object in the distance, and he grabbed his scope from his rifle, and he looked, and he said on the other side was like daytime.
There's some cases like that, bro. Like
And,
there was a case of this woman or girl that went missing, and she said that she was gone for like 48 hours or so, and she said wherever she was, it was like light, the complete light. Like it never went dark.
Well, that's like going back to that dude that went missing for 14 months. It's like, where'd he go? How come he can't remember 14 months? That's a long time to not remember what the fuck happened to you.
Well, that person was just kidnapped and taken to Alaska, one of those places where it stays daylight for 6 months at a time.
Well, no, there's
6 months out of the
another.
year.
There's another
Northern
story.
Hemisphere has that. I think that has that kind of effect. I mean, I know, like, haven't you seen the movie? What is it called?
Debbie Does Dallas?
No,
I've seen that one.
So it's like
Good one.
a thriller, but it's
There's light at the end of that tunnel.
that summer. I can't. It's not summer. It's summer, but
Like
Midsummer.
Sumerian?
Midsummer.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
they're,
crazy.
they're like in Sweden, and they have that same type of environment where it stays daylight
It's like
for.
a cult.
Oh, like
I think
Alaska?
it's just like a northern hemisphere type of environment that kind of affects up in the northern hemisphere.
I hear a lot of weird shit happens in Antarctica too, and that's like the South Pole, ain't it? Antarctica.
Yeah. The way dirty south.
I mean, like if you were to see that in real life, what would you? Your brain can't even comprehend that shit, no? I know if I saw a portal and something come in and out, I'd be like, what the fuck? And then I know my life would never be the same after that.
Maybe your asshole's a portal.
It is. Things come out all the time.
And go in it.
No.
Lesser of three evils. All right. I'm gonna ask you some questions, bro. I'm gonna ask you a question, and there's like 3 fucked up options, but you have to pick the one that you choose as the lesser of 3 evils, okay? You have to take a shit in the woods. And you have these 3 things to wipe. Poison ivy, branches with thorns, or a toad with warts. Agent, what would you pick?
The last one.
A toad with warts?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was gonna say I love taking shits outside. I feel like that's the way we're supposed to use the restroom. I feel I guess closer to nature when I poop outside. But I would use either a toad or the poison ivy. Maybe the toad will get you high. So the toad's the probably best choice. I'd pick toad. Psychedelic toad.
Psychedelic toad, huh?
Fucking
All right.
start tripping balls after taking a good shit.
You're in the woods. These are the only things to eat, okay? Bear balls, a mountain lion's piss, or deer droppings. I guess you can't really eat mountain lion piss, but I could think of it as smoothie.
Well, you'd have to.
So you got
Down
bear
your
balls,
beer
mountain lion
balls.
piss, and deer droppings. You have to pick for some substance to survive. Adrian.
The last one.
Deer droppings, huh?
Deer droppings. What about you, Mario?
I think I'd go with the mountain lion piss, or bear balls. It's gotta be high in protein.
You eat it whole too, probably, huh? Would you
Yeah.
swallow it?
I would
Or
swallow
would you just
it.
even chew any of it? Just swallow it whole?
I would swallow it whole.
All right. Last question. Hey, if you go missing in the woods, what would be your demise, bro? Raped in the forest by some deliverance inbred motherfuckers? Or raped by a Bigfoot or a Wendigo? Or raped by a UFO illegal alien?
UFO illegal alien.
Why? Why would you pick that?
No, but wait, illegal aliens like from Mexico, ain't it,
Or from
another
wherever.
country? How is that a UFO?
You answered that one pretty fast.
No. I was asking a question. I wasn't answering it.
Well, if they're not documented, they're illegal too. You can't be prejudiced.
Oh, okay. So aliens are illegal aliens.
They're
Yeah.
illegal too.
All right.
So, yeah, some
So
hillbilly or
rape,
whatever the fuck, some inbred fools out in the forest.
Raped by Bigfoot.
A Bigfoot, Wendigo, I guess, or
Or
whatever you want to
aliens.
call it, Sasquatch, and some aliens.
I think I'd go with the aliens,
Aliens?
just because I think they would put like lube on it. I don't see Bigfoot using any kind of lube and fucking you raw.
You?
Or the hillbillies.
I'd go with the illegals because they probably have smaller penis than the Hicks and the Bigfoot.
So size matters.
That's gonna matter in this case.
Why would the inbreds have bigger dicks? What the fuck are they like deformed and shit? That's
Big old
they're
hillbillies?
genetically modified. They're with fucking.
Well, yeah, genetically inbred fucking hillbillies just have giant dicks.
They don't-
bro.
I think we just figured out what's taking these people in the forest, bro.
Dummy.